Compare what you got with what I got on any of these. If you got something different and you got questions as to why or how, Hayden, get your stuff out, man. Nah, you're okay. Technically still reviewing. You're not like that, yeah, you're not that far behind. You're okay. Okay, going once, twice, thrice, sold. This is what this page should have looked like. These three questions just asked you, tell me whether or not the answer, whatever it would be positive or negative. That's all you had to do. You didn't actually have to multiply these things together. So the first one should have been negative, positive, and positive. Depending on how many negatives there were. This one has 3 negatives, so it's going to be negative. This one has 4. This one has 4. These are going to be positive. Multiplying the rest of these together, you should have got these answers: 6, 10, negative 12, negative 6, 10, negative 4, negative 8, 10, and negative 20. If you got something different than I got, and you want to know why, let me know. Otherwise, going once, twice, thrice, sold. Okay. And then there was this gigantic page of questions. Take a look at my answers, compare your answers. This takes you down to number 20, I think. Yeah. There were some bigger ones on there, but that's okay. If you want, there are techniques for doing these things, whether it's longhand or some in-your-head shortcuts we can talk about. Good morning, Angel. Angel, what is a hobby that you haven't tried yet that you think would be fun to do? Okay. Just so you know, starting next week, I'm going to mark anyone who says that they don't know to one of my questions. I'm going to start just marking you away until you come up with an answer for me. Yeah. I know it's early, but you got to think a little bit. Okay, so that takes you down to 20. I'll slide this down a little further. No. Times. Negative times a negative is a positive. Negative plus a negative is more negative. There's going to be more negative. Because you're at something negative and you're taking away something positive, you're getting more down that number line. Or you can think of it in terms of emotions. If you already feel sad and I take away the one thing that's making you happy, are you going to get happy or more sad? There you go. Yes. Yes. 23 should be positive 5. Boom. Where is 23? He's right there. Okay. I don't know if I talked about it with you guys or the other block. There was questions in the other block about multiplication longhand with decimals, so I did these two. We're going to go over decimals, percentages, and then BEDMAS using decimals and percentages as a review in more detail near the end of this unit. Anyone has forgotten how to do questions like 34 and 35, I'd be happy to help you with that when we, either now when we get to it again. But this was it. Okay, comments, questions, concerns? Did I make any other mistakes? Once, twice, thrice, sold. Okay, cool. So then the rest of yesterday, I gave you guys just a bit of a review on BEDMAS, stuff you've done in middle school before. I gave you a couple examples on some simple BEDMAS questions involving just integers. We'll bring in BEDMAS with fractions and stuff in a little bit here. It'll be great. And then I wanted you guys to do the odds. on this page. Today, for those who are away, if you want like a bit of a refresh on BEDMAS, I am happy to do that with you and for you. And then I did say I wanted you guys to start on the odds on this one, but that you didn't have to get it done for homework. What we are going to do today is, at least to start, I'm just going to say do them all. There's 40 of them here. I'm not going to do a separate lesson to start class. I'm going to float around. I'll help where needed. Shabbat is here on the side. He can help as well. I want to make sure you guys are comfortable with this. If you finish, I've got an answer key. It's going to be on the table up at the front. You want to check your work, you're welcome to do it. But that is how we're going to start class today. I want you to start. I want you to do them all. If you got questions while we're going, let me know. BEDMAS on your market set giver. Yeah, man. But if you are done, then we'll have a conversation and I'll get you set up on something. Okay, giver. There we go. So record my answers and make sure you are able to get those answers. Anything you don't get done, you're now on the hook for, but we're going to jump into fractions here. So, that's the first 10. I'm also recording videos of these that I'm going to throw up on YouTube. So you guys will have access to them as well. In the top right-hand corner, it's basically in the same spot I wrote my answers. Write these numbers down. And make sure you're able to get those. Okay, I'm going to flip. So we need to start reviewing some fraction stuff. 10 and 26. 2 and 4. This one I left as a fraction. Some of you asked me if you could leave it as a decimal. You totally can. That's fine. There's down to 30. If you need me to go back to anything or slow down, let me know. If you're not done, you should still be writing down my answers in the top right-hand corner so that when you get to it, you can make sure you can get my answers. And there's 31 to 36. And there you go. 35 to 40. Okay. Is there anyone who's got those done who did just now get a chance to check your stuff? Has any questions on any of those? Anyone want to see how any of those were done? Okay. Hearing nothing. We're going to do a quick review now on, well, we're going to start fractions. Review on fractions. Here we go. I want everyone to find this page. Even those of you who worked ahead, I want to make sure that you've got written down what I want you to have written down, that what you've done is in there and is correct. Find this page. So fractions. I know we all know and love fractions. Big fan of these tools. They are useful, regardless of your emotions towards them. And they're useful for representing portions of a whole. So if I've got this, I've got a pizza, it's sliced into 6. And so in that pizza there are, well, it was sliced into 6 and all 6 are still there. So what that means is we can think of it as being 6 of 6 slices are there, or 1 whole pizza. It means the same thing. As soon as you start taking slices away, now you've got a fraction of what you started with. How many slices are here? 1 slice was taken. So what fraction is present here? Well, 5/6 of them are present. How many slices are gone? Well, 1 of them, or 1/6 of the entirety of the puzzle, or pizza. So if there are two people sharing this pizza equally, how many equal slices does each person get? Well, there are 6 slices divided by 2 people. So 6 divided by 2 is 3 slices, or you can think of it as each person's getting 3/6 of the pizza. Which we could reduce to, well, if you're splitting this thing equally, then each person is getting half of the pizza. So somehow 3/6 must reduce to a half. And how many slices? If there's 6 pieces of pizza and there are 6 people, everyone's taking a slice or 1/6 of the pizza. So you've seen fractions before. This shouldn't be anything earth-shattering or new to any of you. But here we go. Fractions. Fractions have 2 parts, the top and the bottom. Each of these pieces have names. The top part is called the, louder, the numerator. The number of parts taken, or the number of parts available, or whatever's being asked for there, this is a subset of the whole. And then you've got the denominator, the bottom. That value there is the total number of equal parts in whatever you're starting with. There are a couple different kinds of fractions. There are proper fractions, improper fractions, and mixed fractions. How are these things different? What makes a fraction a proper fraction? Yeah. Is a proper fraction where the numerator is less than the denominator. You want to give me an example? Just throw a fraction out to the wind that satisfies this? Yeah. Sure, 5/8. Five is less than 8. This is a proper fraction. Improper fraction. What is one of these? Yeah. When the numerator is bigger than the denominator. Is bigger than the denominator. So, toss me out an example of an improper fraction. 7/5. Love it. And it's improper because, well, how can you have more parts than you had in the whole? What's a mixed fraction? Yeah, when there's a whole number and a proper fraction. So give me an example of a mixed fraction or a mixed number. Sometimes it's called a mixed number. You look like you have something you want to say. Yeah, you. No. Someone give me an example of a mixed number. Toss it out to the wind. Someone say something. 1 2/3 is how you'd read that. You've got a whole number here, and you've got your fraction here. It's not, often I see this confused for multiplication. This is not multiplication. This is 1 and 2/3, or 1 plus 2/3. That's what's going on with a mixed fraction. Flip the page. So simplifying fractions, you must always simplify fractions. Everything you do, your end result needs to be simplified. also called reducing. They are the same thing. The goal is to make the fraction as simple as possible. So to go back to my pizza example, we already kind of I already said this, but we'll write it down here. In my whole pizza, this was 6 of 6 slices are all still there. If I take away 3 of them, what I've got left is 3/6 of a pizza. But 3/6 of the pizza is also half of the pizza. These are equivalent fractions. One was reduced or simplified. Reduced, but equal. 3/6 and a half are the same. They are equivalent fractions. Bless you. There are 2 ways to do this, to simplify these fractions. The first method is to look here. Divide top and bottom numbers by a prime number to get whole numbers, and you repeat this thing until you can't get any further. So if you look at this thing, you say, okay, well, I've got 6 and I've got 54. And I want to divide 6 and 54 by prime numbers. And the reason we want prime numbers is because they can't be divided by anything else. Whatever prime numbers we can get to until we've got whole numbers left. Okay, well, let's go. What are 6 and 54 both divisible by? They're both divisible by 2. 6 is even, 54 is even. We can divide both of these by 2. Someone just said 6. Yeah, we'll get there. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 54 divided by 2 is 27. Your dividing by 2 should be something that we should be able to do relatively easily in our heads. And then we say, okay, well, are we done here? Or can I divide 3 and 27 by some more things? They're both divisible by 3. 3 divided by 3 is? 27 divided by 3 is? 9. Going back to the 54 and the 2, if you know that you can see that 54 is even, so it has to be divisible by 2. If you'll notice, if you go back to your multiplication chart, this is bigger than anything that shows up in the 2's column for division there. So there's a few ways you can think about 54 being divisible by 2. 50 divided by 2, or half of 50, is 25. That's a fact you guys should have that you should know. Well, and then 4 divided by 2 is 2. So if 50 divided by 2 is 25, and 4 divided by 2 is 2, then 25 and 2 is 27. There's all sorts of ways to think about these things. Or you can long divide this to get you 27. Or the other method is you look for a greatest common factor. Just go straight for the biggest thing. What is the largest thing that 6 and 54 can be divided by? Thank you. Was that Jackson? Was that you? Is that you? Did you say 6? Sure. Someone said 6. Yeah, 6 and 54 are both divisible by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 54 divided by 6 is 9. You can go straight for whatever the greatest common factor is of both of those numbers. And in this case, it happens to be 6. Everything you do needs to be reduced. Fractions always, always, always need to be left in simplified, reduced, or lowest terms. Always reduce fractions in all the work you do. So that's it. This is the only other piece that we're adding on here today. If you're done the BEDMAS stuff, great. Make sure you can do this page. If you are just, tired of doing BEDMAS and you want to come back to BEDMAS later, crank out some simplified fractions. This is all I'm going to add for you today. Tomorrow we'll look at converting between all these different kinds of fractions. It'll be great. But you're now on the hook for the BEDMAS stuff and this stuff. I know I still haven't caught up to some of you guys who are done. That's okay. Well, I will catch you eventually. Well, the rest of us will catch you eventually. So there you go. This is where you're all at.